Jon Meadows is a headshot photographer and facial expression coach in the Washington, D.C. area. He runs high-end headshots. With over 8 years of dedication to facial expression coaching, he is known for making people wow themselves. He is the last hope for the non-photogenic. He is a husband to Katie for 10 years, and they have 4 kids under 9 years old, 2 boys and 2 girls, which was the master plan.
Welcome to the MilCom Founders Podcast, where we champion and celebrate military community business founders. In each episode, we will talk with a MilCom business founder to learn how they work through various obstacles and opportunities in business and in life. I'm your host, Rod Loches. Let's meet today's guest. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to the MilCom Founders Podcast. I'm your host, Rod Loches. On today's MilCom Founders Podcast, we get to champion and celebrate Jon Meadows. Jon, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here.
Fantastic. So, Jon, it's pretty cool that I get to interview you, and thank you again for doing that, your high-end headshot for me, I think a couple of weeks ago in honor of Veterans Day. So much appreciated.
You're welcome.
But Jon, how did the military, or when did the military ever really enter your world of thought and or your life?
Yeah, I think I grew up like a lot of people, just generally appreciative. You know, there's sacrifice there. You know, it's important. You know that a lot of the things we enjoy were secured through military efforts in part. And so I think it's a general appreciation, but it's not as strong as it should be. So my appreciation took a more serious, appropriate level through 2 things. I had a boss who was a retired Air Force colonel. I was on a campaign, a political campaign. He was the candidate. And I saw the effects of war. We'd ride around the state in the truck. And when he got out, he would need to stretch out a bit, and obviously in discomfort. He flew 20 and 22-hour missions in the second position in a B-1 or B-2 bomber. So he was hunched over, I guess, dropping the bombs for 20, 22-hour missions.
Wow.
So that kind of affects your back after a few of those.
Mm-hmm.
And I also heard him talk about some stories about what had happened. And so that helped heighten my appreciation. And I married into a military family. My brother-in-law was a sniper in Afghanistan. We haven't talked a lot about it, but I think what snipers in Afghanistan do a little bit. And that brought a greater appreciation. And then I was able to develop this skill, and I'm using it for the benefit of myself and my family, to the benefit of my clients. But I thought it would be a great thing and a succinct, valuable thing to give to veterans and those transitioning soon. If I gave it away, I thought that would be a great thing to do and not overwhelm my year with a big project. It's fairly time. There's a boundary of time. You know, it's not going to take over, but it is a valuable thing to give to help people.
It sure is, and very much appreciated. Yeah. So Jon, a little bit about you. What are 3 things that are important to you in your life? And you can take that any direction you want. But
sure.
What's important to Jon Meadows?
Faith in God is the biggest thing. It affects every area of my life. My dad was a Reformed Baptist pastor, and so I grew up. I don't know when I became a Christian, but I don't remember not being a Christian. So that is the fundamental thing. Eternal value and purpose, and just makes me not feel like, what is the point of this? I know what the point is. Family, obviously. God has blessed us. Blessed me with a wife and blessed us with 4 little kids.
Wow.
8, 6, 4, and 2 until Saturday. One will have 8, 6, 5, and 2. So I think from faith and because of my family, I say the 3rd thing is probably stewardship, using the gifts God has given me to do good with them, to make the most of them. And I would say those are the 3.
That's awesome. It's inspiring, quite frankly. And I appreciate your being willing to share those insights and your feelings and beliefs. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what's one thing people don't know about Jon Meadows?
I'm getting into pickleball.
Are you really?
I just did my first tournament, men's doubles tournament Saturday, and I'm starting to pay to play inside because it's getting so cold.
Where
I've
are you
played
going to play?
rackets. I've played racket sports most of my life. I played tennis with my now brother-in-law growing up,
Mm-hmm.
and I got into squash. I still play squash a lot.
Oh,
I've started playing in tournaments for squash too, leagues as well, and now adding pickleball. I like spin and the strategy involved in racket sports. Table tennis
uh-huh.
growing up as well. Went to a club where a kid was training for the Youth Olympics.
Oh, very
So
cool.
I never won, but he was so
Uh-huh.
good. But yeah, racket sports is the thing that comes to mind right now.
Uh-huh. Very cool. And where do you play pickleball indoors in Northern Virginia?
I just found last night we went first time to the Pickleball Club of Tyson's.
The Pickleball Club of Tyson's?
Yes, it's I
I will
think
have to look
technically in
that up.
Vienna, but
Uh-huh.
they have open play. We It's supposed to be 2 hours of playing 16 people on four courts or 16. You get to use the courts. You put your paddle there to say you're next, and then when people finish up, you get in. So you play almost the whole time. It was $20 as a non-member for 2 hours, and we actually played 3 hours.
Oh, awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Now I look forward to learning how to play pickleball. I grew up playing racquetball, tennis, no, never squash, but it seems like an appropriate sport for me to be learning at my delicate age. So,
It's easy to pick up.
is it?
Yeah.
I have friends back in Ohio. They all play it. Everybody in Ohio back there plays in Ohio. It's
I
just
played I
crazy
played
back.
squash for a while and then went back to playing tennis, and that ball is so heavy. You hit it and you have to like keep swinging like as you're hitting it. It feels like you're hitting a brick.
As you swing
Pickleball and
through it, yeah.
squash are light balls, so it's not that
Very
feeling.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, John, I met you first probably in 2018 or something like that
Hmm.
when we were both standing up 1 million cups DC, I think it was.
Yes.
And I always appreciated your calm, thoughtful approach to business. But I think when I first met you, I think you were working for a different company organization or something.
First bit of 2018, yeah, I was working at a nonprofit, and then they fired me in March. Thankfully.
Thankfully,
Yeah.
think about that. How
Yeah.
sometimes the things that at the moment don't seem like what the heck
Mhm.
become such a wonderful thing. But walk us through that transition. How did that happen? What did you think? How did you just tell me about that? It's an amazing story that
Well,
I've heard a little bit.
in 2008, my mom, I'll give you the whole photography story because that's very much related to how I handled the firing. So 2010, 2008, actually, my mom told me from my London study abroad pictures that I might be good at photography. And I think it was because of the composition of the touristy photos based off of what I learned in art class in high school. And I wasn't even trying to do it, but I didn't put Big Ben right in the center of the picture. I put off to the side. It looked nicer. And I think that's what she was seeing because I don't think there was anything remarkable about the pictures. But that
Uh-huh.
stuck with me for 6 years. And then I
Wow.
found myself in Louisiana on the campaign trail, and I was spending 90 hours a week with the people on the campaign. And when I wasn't working with them, I didn't really want to hang out with them. I picked up a camera and started photographing the crazy bugs down there, getting the basics down. And then as I was getting the basics down, I learned that my wife's aunt was making pretty good money with real estate photography. I didn't want to photograph people I knew. I started practicing in DC with a realtor friend. He gave me the lockbox code to a few houses to practice on. And then he asked me if I'd want to work for him on something. He gives his clients a photo shoot as a
Mhm.
thank you for buying with him. And usually it's the family in the new house once they get it set up. But it was $100, and the photographer who was doing that was leaving, going to California. So I said, I don't want to, but yes, I will. I was
Uh-huh.
nervous about photographing people. So the first guy happened to want headshots, and he happened to be the legal counsel for President Obama's National Security Council,
Oh.
the group that tells him who to bomb and who not to bomb and all that
Mhm.
stuff. It was $100. I wanted to make money with photography, so I said yes. We went into the Eisenhower Executive Office building, and I photographed him in there. I was in political communications, so he showed me the office, the Oval Office, and the press room.
Wow.
That was my first photography job. So I found my mentor because I figured if the first guy wanted headshots, he wouldn't be the last person to want headshots. So how do you do that
Uh-huh.
better? And I found the world's best headshot photographer, many photographers would say, and he was teaching online in a group format. So he had a community and you could join and participate and get his critique on your work in the group setting for $20 a month.
Wow.
So
So
go ahead.
two amazing things there. One is you shared that your mom says, "Hey, you're pretty good at this." A gentleman who we just interviewed on the last podcast that just finished up 20 minutes ago, he was going to join the Army, and his mom says, "Have you looked at the Air Force?" And he went and looked at the Air Force, and he's, "Wow, this is a better fit." So it's
Okay.
amazing how many times our moms truly do know us best.
It was just a
And-
Facebook comment. It wasn't like a think about doing photography. It was just, you seem like you'd be good at that.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. $20 a month
Yes.
to join this online Facebook group or something?
It's a website, but yeah, they have live Zoom calls and you can submit your work and get critique. And there are video tutorials on there and all sorts of stuff. But I just said, I don't know anywhere else you can get the best anything to teach you for $20 a month. So I should probably just specialize in this, even though 2 weeks ago I was thinking, I really don't want to photograph people. I get how this guy teaches. I feel like he says it once and it clicks and I got it. And I can get his advice and critique and teaching for $20 a month. So I joined, and that year I was working at this nonprofit and learning headshots and getting people in and starting to charge money for what I did. And I think that was part of why they fired me, at least. I don't know why really. But I became an associate at the end of 2017, meaning Peter approved my portfolio and said he thought it was good. He's pretty tough too. So I had this confidence about Peter thinks that my work is good. Everybody, all my friends thought I was good for a long time before Peter thought I was good. And in March, they let me go. So I had a 30-day warning, and they brought in someone to help me get better. And they said at the end of 30 days, you got better, but not better enough. So they fired me. So I went home. I told my wife, who was a stay-at-home mom then. She used to do nannying. So it doesn't make sense for her to be a nanny if we have kids and we need someone to take care of our kids. So she wasn't working and making money. And we had the newborn, I think 9 months old baby girl at the time. Wow. And all of a sudden,
how old your oldest was when you got?
Yeah.
Wow.
Our oldest was the only one we had, and she was 9 months. So the best course of action, I was tired of the political communications jobs. So the best course of action was just to go full time. So I came home, told Katie, we took an hour just to sit around and be like, wow, okay, that happened. And then I told her, I said, I think I'm going to go work on the website. She's like, okay, cool. So I went and I started working, and I had a job that day.
You had a business that day that you started.
A business that day, yes. Yeah, but I doubled down. So I was making $63,000 a year at the full-time job. And the year before, when I was learning and starting to make some money with it, I had earned $12,000 and had already faced the challenge of people wanting to shoot during the weekday, but I couldn't. And the business was growing a little bit, starting to get my name out there. So I figured if I had all week to work on this thing, I could make it happen. Katie and I really enjoy living indoors. So that was motivation to make it work as best I could. So it was kind of helpful that I knew the importance of making it work. It couldn't be a side thing anymore. And if I make $1,000 this week, that's awesome. If I don't, that's okay. Really important that this starts producing some income. I coach photographers, and if I talk to someone whose spouse makes a lot of money every year, big income, I'm like, I don't know if you can really, you could, but I just think you're probably not going to have the drive to actually do the work to make this happen. Because if it goes really well, you might take one more vacation or something.
Yeah.
You don't need it. I
Yeah.
needed the money for what's considered the basics in America. So
Well, it's interesting, but so you have the talent, obviously, but talent is only one piece of being a business owner, a
mhm.
successful business owner. I'd love to hear your ideas, John. What are those two to four, whatever, I don't care, 17 if you want. What are those other things? And take a moment and think about it, but what are some of those things that have helped you succeed? When you get news of, hey, you're being terminated, that's hard. That's hard. But what are those things that have helped you succeed early on to today? Have they changed? I really want to hear what your thoughts are on this.
I think I have a confidence that I have through my faith. God had ended multiple campaigns with losses. When you lose a campaign, you're working more and more as election comes. And then when you lose, you're expected to not get paid, but also help clean up the office. And then you haven't been looking for a job because you're hoping you win and you're too busy. So you are jobless while still expected to continue helping out for a bit. And you're like coming out of working a lot of hours, so you're tired and you're sad,
Mm-hmm.
disappointed, and it's not great. But God has always provided for work for me through several different harder times like that. So I trust that if I am doing work and pursuing a good use of my time, that God will provide one way or another. On one campaign, I cleaned up and I was headed from Louisiana to New Hampshire, and I got a call from someone I had known on a previous campaign, and I accepted a job on the drive back home.
Mm-hmm.
So God has always provided. So there's a certain confidence in God and a certain confidence that just I tend to have a one-track mind. My wife has accused me of having a one-track mind sometimes. I think I'm less like this now, but for the first few years, I thought about the business a lot. What can I do? Who can I meet? Where should I be hanging out online? What should my messaging be? Pricing has been a big part of
Mm-hmm.
the explanation for my success. The basic just psychology of, if I do this kind of pricing, how will that make people feel? What will that encourage them to do? What will that discourage them from doing? The fundamental,
Inspirational in some ways, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. I
Uh-huh.
was a little bit thinking of it like a game. Okay, if you have a business, you can earn as much money as you can convince people to give you. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to wait a year to see if your boss will give you a raise.
Mm-hmm.
Just go find people who will give you money for whatever you're doing. So, kind of seeing what's the upper limit of what I can do with this thing. I've been guided by trying to be the best and the most expensive from the beginning. The best in the beginning, I guess. And then shortly after, I wanted to become the most expensive. If you're the best, you should probably be the most expensive. That partly came from, even my move to politics partly came from a realization that I wanted to have work-life balance, as people say. I didn't want to be doing my job 100 hours a week. I was going to go
Mm-hmm.
to law school and have a good paying but busy career.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I met Katie, and I was realizing I was going to get married way sooner than I thought. And
Sorry, that's
so,
funny.
so if you're the best and the most expensive, you don't need to be working as much
Uh-huh.
because you're making more for your time. So that has guided me. That
Mm-hmm.
aspirational, like, I want to be really good at what I do. And not only do I want to make a lot of money for a valuable skill, but I want
Yeah.
clients who appreciate me that much.
Mm-hmm. It's one thing, those are all important. Your skills, aspirational pricing, I'll call it. But back to your first point is being hyper focused. I think that is one of the keys to success that I see again and again and again. when we as business founders try to be all things to all people and do everything for everyone, that's typically when we fail, we as business owners. And the men and women who choose to be that hyper focused on a hyper niche, hyper service, are the ones that are usually the happiest, most profitable, and everything. So I really think that's really cool that you have that. Is that a trait or is that a learned thing? How did you come about becoming a hyper focused person?
Well, I feel like there are two things we're talking about. One is the niche, learning headshots, and really only learning headshots was a good thing for me for a few reasons. One, I had this mentor who's the best at that. He doesn't teach a whole lot else, so that was helpful in focusing me on that. Two is it's really easy to pose shoulders. Full body photography is a lot different. So I liked that it was limited in terms of just stand there, have good posture. That's about it for shoulders. Have good posture. Maybe turn this way or that way just a little bit. Yep. And then the face expression. So I like that it was limited in that way. The other, I feel like that is what led me to, I developed this skill specifically for headshots. And so that was a viable product, viable service. You could build a business around that. So instead of trying to add to that, I focused on the business side. So many photographers are creative and have an eye and like gear and figuring out stuff and trying new things and creating images. And they're really bad at the business.
Yes.
So I feel like the fact that I stepped into headshots and then was like, oh, it's time to start making money. I don't have a job really helped. And then the knowledge of like, well, I'm a creative. People would say I'm a creative, but I don't feel that creative. I have a very limited skill set that I'm really good at, and I needed to make money for my family. So instead of going and being more creative and figuring out how to do, parachute pants shots at sunrise, I focused on how do I make an impact for my family instead of just for fun, what the skills that I have.
Simple, right?
Yeah. Just like, this works. This is a thing people will buy. Let's go do this. So I love photography. I love my job. It's really rewarding and cool and easy. I do it in my home studio, and that's great. I love the photography side of it. I more love the business because it allows us to live in a good area, a safe area. We were in a growingly dangerous area, 5-6 years ago? And we're on a cul-de-sac now. It's quiet. We're close to everything we want to go to, basically. Sending the kids to a great school that we have to pay for. And my wife doesn't have to have a job. I love the business more than I love the photography, probably.
So how did you learn the business side? This is really an interesting point because there are so many people that are good at X, Y, or Z. I don't care whether it's a locksmith or whatever. But it is the business side that can make all the difference for someone, or should and will. How did you go about learning about the business and building your business?
I listened to Grant Cardone's 10X rule probably 10 times more than everyone else. So, and I've had people like Coach say, well, I don't like Grant. I don't think that matters. I think what he says in that book is very important. You have to put in 10 times more effort than you would think to get to where you want to go. And you should be shooting for 10 times what you really think you can make. So it is, I guess that probably fed into my focused nature of, I want this, like it's not going to be easy. Even giving away headshots can be hard. Really good headshots. I did the $50,000 giveaway for November for veterans and those transitioning out soon. And I was able to fill those spots. But 6 years ago, I guess, when I started this, I said, hey, I'm going to have free headshots for a day. There are like 30 spots. It's going to be at this restaurant that's not
For
open for
veterans only,
birthdays.
right?
Was it for veterans only at that time? Yeah, it was for veterans only this year, but last few years I've included military spouses. But I limited it this way this year because of the way I was doing it. But I put that out there on my LinkedIn that I had thousands of connections. Hey, I'm doing these free headshots for veterans, and it was work to give them away. I had to like contact people, do outreach to get the spots filled, even though they were free and at that time probably worth $500. Anyway, back to the business. I knew that I had to put in a lot of effort, so I did the work. Now it's not so work intensive. So I did the work. I knew it was going to take significant effort to get to where I wanted to. And I think through what the client sees, what the client is likely to think, how to run a session so that they get what they want, and just a lot of business, and my kind of business at least, is just very simple thoughts about like, I charge a session fee and an image fee. You pay to book the session, you buy images at the end. What does a relatively high session fee do to potential clients? What does a relatively low image fee say to clients? What does a low session fee say to clients? What does a relatively high image price say to clients? Which is better for the client? Which is better for me? Just simple things like that, thinking through, what will a client say if I say what most photographers say is, oh, it's going to be fun. I really get to know you. I'll help you out. You'll love it. What does that indicate to clients? Does that make them feel like, oh, this is going to be great? Or does that make them feel like, I'm not sure I will enjoy a session? So I think it's thinking through in just basic common sense thought about each aspect of the business. The sales funnel. How do you start off with people who know about you? If they don't know anything about you, they will not book. So how do I get in front of people? Who are the best clients? Where do they hang out? That's how I ended up on LinkedIn, and I've gotten a lot of business from LinkedIn.
You get a lot of business through LinkedIn. That's cool.
Yes.
That's very cool. And then what's next for Jon Meadows and high-end headshots? Headshots only, or have you thought about, hey, what if I do?
Well, I did a few years ago try to start high-end portraits, which is so headshots are designed basically to make you more money. It's for colleagues and people to see who will hire you or ask you to speak or whatever. It's online use. And I started high-end portraits for images to cherish and enjoy. So you might really want just an awesome photo of you in a tux or something, or a fancy dress. If you're a woman, you've got your hair and makeup done and you look amazing, and it's your 40th birthday and you just want a picture, or you want pictures. It's not to show anyone really. Maybe it's for the family. Maybe it would be hung up on your wall. So I developed some skill in that and a process for that, but it came down to I didn't have the drive to build that up like I did high-end headshots. High-end headshots pays the bills, more than pays the bills, and I didn't have what it took to put the effort into developing a portfolio and getting better at that. So I still have a client here or there on high-end portraits, but I think going forward, it's headshots. I think just keep developing the network, and I'm starting to have return clients now, which I haven't had for a while because people have thought I'm expensive for a while, and they come back 2 years later and it's double the price. Like, oh man, I thought it was expensive before. It was great, but I'd be willing to do what I did 2 years ago, but I'm not willing to do double or triple what I paid 2 years ago. So now that I've gotten to a good point with my pricing, it's not going up as much. So when people respond to a post and say, hey, I was in 2023, can I come back in? I don't have to say, let me tell you the pricing now and see if you're still interested.
Understood.
So that's good. Recurring business is good.
Yeah. Well, and we go through seasons of life. Like, I'm 40 pounds lighter than I was 3 years ago, the last time I had a headshot taken. And I don't look like that guy that was in my LinkedIn photo 2 months ago. So I really do appreciate very much. I'm like, I know that guy. In fact, I lost so much weight that my Apple face recognition no longer recognized me. I was like,
That's
oh my
awesome.
gosh, it was crazy. I had to go change everything. I was freaking out. I thought my phone had been hacked and taken over. I'm like, why can't I
Yeah,
get in my phone?
that's
So
awesome. That's when you
it
know
was
you've made it.
crazy.
Apple thinks you lost a lot of weight.
Yes, Apple thought I'd lost a lot of weight, and they were right. So now I
Yep.
fight hard to keep it that weight. That's for sure. In many ways, what I'm finding out today with AI and our business is there is AI, there's automation, there's all these things. But John, I think in some ways I'll call your aspirational photos. It's part of leadership. It's part of looking the part, showing up. So for me, a lot of what you do is, that first look. It is leadership at first look. Back in the military, if you saw an officer, or I don't care, NCO or anybody that walked in was just slop and chop, just didn't look the part, right then you're a lot less likely to follow the guy, to listen to the person and allow him to lead. And I think as everything right now, I look through the lens of leadership. Am I leading? How do we lead? How do we lead the clients? It's just such an important part. And I think because I have an ugly mug, I had never really thought about the value of the high-end headshots. So it's very interesting as you talk about aspirational and how important that is from day one.
Yeah, I think people trust you and like you, and your face is more than any other part of your body is how people connect with you. And so it's not about looking amazing, like you're ready for to shoot for Dior or something like that. It's how people connect with you. People have all sorts of different beliefs about themselves. Some people think they're more attractive than they are, but most people think they're not as attractive as they are. But it's more about human connection than looking good, I think. Although hopefully, I thought you looked good, and people actually look good. But it's not about looking good. It's about helping people see you as you want them to see you.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, the human connection.
Yeah.
Which is it's one thing that in our business we struggle with. A lot of smart people, accountants, CFOs, XYZ. But what I always have to tell them is it doesn't matter how much we know until our clients know how much we care. And it's about building that trust, that conversation, that relationship that allows us to help them the most.
Yeah, trust is expertise.
Yeah.
But you might have a degree, you might have client referrals, testimonials. That's all mostly trust. But there's something to be said for knowing and liking someone. And I think a good headshot helps with all of those.
100%.
I've had people tell me that I capture the essence of people. And they don't know the person, but they see the person and are like, I get that person. I feel like I know them more than you would think, having not met them.
Yeah, very cool. So, John, what are some words of advice or insights you would share with anyone looking to go start a business of any type? What are some ideas and thoughts from your experience that you've had?
I think having a great but single mentor in at least an aspect of what you do. When I was learning from Peter how to do headshots, I liked his work. He was teaching in a way I picked up on, like I said, and there were other ways to do headshots, and I just ignored them. And I just studied with Peter. If Peter liked it and I didn't, I decided I was going to like it until I got to the point where I was, somewhere in the realm of how good he was. He liked the hair a certain way, and I thought, I think it'd be better, a little different, back on one side when he wants it forward on both sides. I'm like, who am I? He's great. I'm just going to accept what he says, believe it, and then if I get really good and I decide I want the hair back on one side, I'm going to put it back on one side then. But I teach people about photography business and how I run them, how I think they should run them. And I get people who are not making much money at all being like, I don't know, I don't feel like I don't want to do that aspect of it. And it's like an important part of the system. That makes me feel, I don't like it. Okay. And then they're like, your stuff wasn't helping me that much. I was like, you didn't really do it. So it doesn't mean you only have one mentor, but I had one mentor on the photography side. I had one mentor mostly listening to Grant Cardone, and I think there are good things about what he teaches. Maybe there are some bad things about what he teaches, but I think it's better to just trust someone who's successful than to listen to multiple people. And for you, who was unsuccessful at the time in this journey, this what you're trying to do, and you haven't done it well, but you're going to decide who's right between even multiple people who are successful. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I would just say, if there's a system that you're being taught by one person, to do that if you want to be where they are. And when you get it working and you want to tinker, then tinker. But I see too many people listening to all sorts of voices, and they end up not following any strategy.
Yeah. A lot of franchisees or franchisors say the same thing with their franchisees. They're like, look, the franchisee didn't make it because he or she did not follow the system. So if you're not going to follow the system, it's hard to ensure. Like, it'd be like if McDonald's went and made different types of fries at everyone. Well, it's not going to work.
If McDonald's was like, Pizza Hut's been doing pretty well, we should do that. We'll do McDonald's, but we'll also do pizzas.
It's not going to work too well.
No.
Not going to work too well. So other than Grant Cardone, which I started it and I never finished it, don't know why, but I didn't, but I need to go back to that. But what are some other resources that you've either thought about using or felt that were good resources that you might use today?
To help me with the business?
Yeah. What you just said, though.
Yeah. I feel Tony Robbins, I saw some videos from him, but I think there would be more resources if your business is more complicated. Mine is pretty cut and dried. You need people to come in, you take pictures of them, you sell them pictures. You're not dealing with production, prototypes, where to have your stuff manufactured. It's a pretty simple business. So I think that's why I could hear Grant, and it's not like I didn't listen to anything else, but that was primary. That's who I was following. And then just thinking through simple things along the lines of, what are my clients going to think? How should I run my business? What kind of business do I want to have? So I would say it was pretty self-directed. And I've had people ask me, like, what's the biggest mistake you've made in the business? And I don't know. It's COVID. I should have decided not to do COVID. That wasn't up to me. There have been challenges, but I haven't made any huge missteps. I think because I'm just thoughtful, and it's pretty simple.
And focused.
Yeah, and focused. Yeah.
So what's something the audience can do to champion and celebrate you and high-end headshots?
Anyone can connect with me on LinkedIn. I saw today I'm at 18,000 connections. So I have 12,000 more before I have to start asking people just to follow me, because I can't connect with anyone. But connect. Obviously, being a client would be awesome. I plan to do this at least yearly, where I give away headshots to veterans. So
thank you.
Most of the years I've done this, I really haven't seen any significant income from it, like referrals or companies wanting to book. This year I did see some goodwill and interest through people posting about their headshots and stuff. So it's been good on that front. I didn't do it for the money, but it's great that people appreciated it and wanted to work with me. So when I share next year that I'm doing this promotion offer, if you could share anything that you think is good and worth sharing on your LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, you probably should be.
That's right.
Yeah, just connect. And when I come to mind, someone says they are transitioning from the military and they want a great job at one of the government contracting companies or something, remember me. That's about it.
Jon, one last question. What's one question I should have asked you and I have not done so yet?
You're pretty good at this. I'm not sure. We even covered pickleball. That would be the question, but you asked it.
Got it.
I don't know. I feel like maybe just about the bigger picture. I covered it a little bit, but the bigger picture for me in terms of building a business that has a good income. It's a lot about, I mentioned stewarding, but it's a lot about being a net exporter. I want to be able to use the gifts that God has given me to produce more than I need so that I am able to give to others. We support our church, our school, occasionally needs that pop up for other people. We host people. We have a good house for hosting people. So we build community in our church by having people over for dinners, and we meet people we've never met before, and they meet people that also come that they've never met before. I was able to buy my parents a Mercedes. My mom has had a lot of surgeries, and they were in a Civic. So I got them a nice SUV. That was very rewarding. So I feel like if people think about, what am I doing that I'm not being paid to do, or what am I doing that is giving to some organization or people? And if you come up with nothing, then maybe think about what you should be doing. It's a bit of sacrifice, but it's a good thing to be doing. Have some outlet.
Life's about giving. How much can we give and help others? And the more we do that, in fact, all of our marketing now is based on give, because it's not about how much I can get, how much I can take. It's about how much I can give and what comes back around. And that's the way I wish I'd been doing that forever. But I learned in my faith and my walk, and it's got to be genuine. It's got to be give first. And
cheerful giver.
I like that. Hey, I'd like to say thank you so much for your time and for the headshots, Jon, very much. And to say thank you, we're going to make a donation to the MilCom Founders Scholarship Fund. I'm going to do it for $200 for you, just as a special thank you for your time today. And that'll go to a kid of a military family to either attend university or a accredited trade school. So thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on it.
Thanks for joining us on the MilCom Founders Podcast. If you know a MilCom founder with a story to share, reach out to us at milcomfounders.com. For each guest on our show, One Degree Financial donates $100 to the Dick Wojcik Veteran Entrepreneur Scholarship Fund, supporting education for children of a MilCom business owner. Stay ready.